Welcome to the Happy Humanoids Perspective, where your beliefs are challenged, thoughts provoked, and where you may find your happy place whether you like it or not.
And here are your hosts, Edith and Miles.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Welcome everyone to our show. My name is Miles Keever, and I'm an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator. Joined here, well, not here, but joined with me tonight is my lovely playmate and co-host, Edith Hall.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Miles from Chicago and me from Largo. Go, go, go.
Go, go, go. We're going to go, go, do.
Wake me up before you go, go.
Very cool. Well, we have an interesting topic tonight. It's episode number 43, and it's what are your judgments about receiving that are shrinking your money belt? If you have a money belt and it's shrinking, what are your judgments that's creating that shrinking activity? So we'll talk about that today and maybe a few other things.
Yeah, there is this belief in this reality that if we judge enough something in us or outside of us, that it will change. But it's not true. It's a lie. The judgment, if you look at the energy that is created when you judge something, it creates some kind of contraction, some kind of limitation. And the judgment is it destroys possibilities. So if something was about growing, when you judge it, you destroy the possibility of it. So everywhere you believe that by judging, you are judging what you don't like in your life or judging what you don't receive in your life, will help you getting more, will help you go to another level, will help you moving forward. Well, create and destroy at all times a godzillion.
Yes, ma'am. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot and pocket, all in short, boys and youngs. There does seem to be some kind of like validity to judgment. Like there's got to be something, because it feels so tangible. It feels like it's real. And if I'm judging not having enough money, or if I focus on not having enough money, or why I'm not creating what I want in my life, it seems like it should make things better. It seems in this reality like there's so much judgment going on, and there's so many opinions about how to make money. And if we're not making money, we should be doing something more. We should be maybe talking about it more or something, or like getting counseling on judging or whatever, or not to judge but money, And it's like, what if that's not really the best approach? Because I myself have been very judgmental in a lot of different areas, and it really hasn't. What's changed for me is when I have changed, it's my willingness to get a judgment and then ask a question. It's not the judgment that does it. It's like doing judgment. Just like you said, Edith, it just contracts, solidifies, and makes that thing just like solid. It doesn't move. It just becomes like a piece of marble or something. Marble does move, but just the energy of this vibration is very slow. So it seems like this should be some great change. By the more I judge, the more I really make myself wrong, the more that I blame my situation or my job, then my thing should change. But that's not really the way it works. It just usually makes it worse, or get to a point where something's got to change, and then at that point, then we can choose something else. So everywhere that we're using judgment, just like you said, Edith, as a way to keep us in this loop of not creating the life that we desire and the money that we desire, will you please destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion?
Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, both and beyonds. And there are people who function this way in this reality. The more they judge themselves, this is the way for them to propel themselves in. And that's the way to do it. What we invite you here is something different, something that can be much easier for you. And instead of going, because judgment is always going against.
Mhm.
It's about contraction. It's about using force. It's about, as you said, doing more, being more. What if it can be something totally different here?
Yeah.
And I forgot I wanted to go somewhere here. And yeah, and judgment, what it does, yeah, we invite you to something, yeah, that is much lighter, that is much easier, and that it will probably, and it's not about going against. Judgment is about going against. It's about going with the flow, following energy. There is this kind of support on this planet. The consciousness and the universe are there to support us. They have our back. And it's by asking questions and that we can allow ourselves to create more possibilities, because the judgment create less. All the judgments create less. There's not a judgment that will create more. No. So everywhere you believe that the judgment will create more in your life. Oh, and all the dynamic you function from judgment that you created from judgment, well, you know, and create and destroy it all times a godzillion.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, on and short scores and yawns. It does seem, I mean, you said, Edith, that it's an easier, lighter, more expansive way to choose, but it doesn't really seem that way, because it's like we haven't really done that much of it. It's like starting something new, or it's almost, well, it is. It's going against the grain of this reality. It's like rubbing the cat the wrong way. You know, that's just not, doesn't feel right. It just doesn't, you know, get some reaction from the cat immediately that this isn't the right way to do it. It's almost that way because it's so foreign, I would say, to me. The initial part of like choosing from awareness, choosing from awareness, but choosing to follow the energy as opposed to trying to make myself wrong to change the situation. And yeah, it is easier, but it doesn't feel easy. That's the thing. It feels like it's like there's got to be that force. I mean, how can something change if we don't like push it? I mean, how can we get the grass mowed if we don't like push the lawnmower and cut the grass? You know, there's got to be some action there. And it's true, there has to be action, but it's not pushing against. Like you said, it's more about following the energy and then doing what's required. And it's not about another thing, it's like, it's just because we may have judgments about money or about what we're not receiving, and that maybe shrinks our money belt. It doesn't mean that, what was I going to say? That the money just shows up. If we clear all that stuff when we just sit back and wait, money shows up. Maybe it will, and maybe there's something that's required. Maybe that, okay, maybe I need to go get this job that I didn't consider before, or maybe I need to work part-time at whatever until I get more clarity about what it is I desire. It's not about sitting back and just waiting for it to show up, because that is not creating our life. That is just in stall mode, and nothing falls faster from the sky than a plane in stall mode. So everywhere that we're not, everywhere that there's in either or, we either have to push to get change or do nothing and receive. Everywhere we've mixed that up, we now destroy and uncreate all of that times a gazillion, please.
Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, floors and beyonds. We talk about here the judgment about receiving that are shrinking your money belt. Yeah. I really like the access theory about receiving with money. They say with the book, did you bring the book with you? I didn't find it.
I did not. No.
Okay, maybe okay, so I guess someone has it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I know who. So there's a book in Access called Money Isn't the Problem, You Are, which means that it's not if you have money problem, it's not about the money. It's about you. And it's about your capacity to receive.
Yeah.
Capacity to receive first, and capacity to receive you as well. So, well, tonight, yeah, we talk about judgment, but now I would like us to move on, unless you have anything else you would like to say about judgment.
I'm ready to move on.
Okay,
Move it on.
moving on. So yeah, so it's about this judgment about receiving. What is it? You know, in this lifetime, and in other lifetime as well, we believe this lie that we had to protect ourselves if we don't want to suffer. That's one of the things where we create that kind of energetic barriers.
Mm-hmm.
And when we build that kind of barriers in front of us or behind us or around us, well, we create barriers to receive as well. If this barrier is there to protect us, it's because we don't want to receive something. But the thing is, we don't receive what we don't desire to receive, and we don't receive what we desire as well because the barrier is there. Mm-hmm. So it's about yeah. So all the barriers you build in order for you to protect yourself because you didn't want to receive a specific thing or specific situation, and now you're locked in that barrier. Can you say locked in? And now you are locked in this barrier. Will you now create and destroy it all times a gazillion?
Yes, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock on short spoils beyond. Yeah, those barriers are like it's like you're saying, it's like a space where we're not willing to. We won't try to protect ourselves, and we create barriers, barriers up to defend some point of view or some judgment. And again, that's just pushing against something. It doesn't mean, well, what I get from it is that we create these barriers because we're not many examples, but we either have some affinity to what it is that I'm putting a barrier up against. Like maybe I'm like that, or maybe in some past life I was the creator of that action or that idea or emotion, or maybe it's something that we don't quite get. Maybe we're not familiar with it, or maybe it's also something that we recognize that if we were to allow that energy of this other person, if it's a judgment or if it's an awareness or something that this other person is doing, we've created a barrier to avoid having that energy in our body. Maybe that's the energy that is required for us to step into something that is great. Maybe I might seem afraid of a certain type of character that is maybe really loud, and because I'm more quiet, maybe like the loud person and the exuberant person is something that I tend to like, oh, this person is really kind of out of control. So what if I was willing to be that out of control? And the way this is an example tied to the money is if I'm selling a service or something and someone is loud and out of control, and I say, I don't want that kind of person in my like, if I'm offering a service, I don't want to treat that person. I don't want to give that person something. It's I'm rejecting that energy. And the thing is, if I were to allow that energy of that person, then that would increase my capacity to receive, and also minimize the judgment I have for that person, and increase the money that I come in with, or the money that I receive. It's just that choice to allow that person to be who they are without a point of view, and not trying to change them, not trying to reject them or align and agree with them, but just allow them to be who they be. So me making that choice reflects in the money that I have. So if I'm more willing to just be an allowance of everything around me, the more willing I'm able to receive money. So Gary uses this quick example about the guy he had a dry cleaning business in a part of town that he was, in a town that had a lot of clientele that he didn't really like that kind of person. And it was like a gay person, I think it was. And so he was rejecting that person. The guy would come in to have his laundry done or his shirts pressed or whatever. He was like, always had this attitude of like, there's that guy again. I gotta do his laundry, whatever. And then he just sort of rejected. And Gary's like, you gotta flirt with this guy. He says, you don't have to do anything with it, but just allow that, receive his energy. He's wanting to connect with you in some way. So the guy's like, okay, after a lot of potting, pocketing, and clearing, he's just, okay, I'll do that. So he began to receive this guy, got to know this guy and got friendly with him and even flirted with him. Well, this guy has lots of other friends that he knows that all brought their business in to see this guy because this guy was really cool. So that's one example of being an allowance of someone, how that can bring more money into your world. So everywhere that we're not allowing everywhere just we're not an allowance of people around us, we destroy it and create all that times Godzillion.
Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So yeah, when we allow ourselves to receive something we used to judge, we allow ourselves to receive another kind of energy. And by allowing this, we are saying to the universe, okay, I can receive more here. So, and yeah, and that's the thing. It's about allowing ourselves. It's about, I think too, it's about becoming aware of our, where in our life, where it's hard for us to receive. Are you ready to receive when you haven't done anything? Just because someone desired to give you something. What if it's about, allowing you to receive with no condition, unconditionally? And or is it about, are you ready to receive only when you have a reason, when you did something and you allow yourself to receive, and do you allow yourself to receive much more than what you expect? Or sometimes we don't expect anything, but when someone desires to give us something, it's like, oh my God, it's too much. So is it some kind of judgment or conclusion that are in place here that don't allow you to receive? So yeah, what is it? What's the value of not receiving what other people would like to give you and would be a contribution to your life? And everything that doesn't allow that, William create and destroy it all times a Godzillion.
Yes, right, wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, on shorts, boys and beyonds. I think some of that for me is thinking there's some kind of obligation tied with that. If someone wants to give me something that I did not necessarily earn it, they just want to give it to me, then I'm thinking that there's some kind of like a hook to it. You know, there's a snare. Excuse me. There's a snare that's going to catch me later. And I think that's true. We tend to think that there's a linear way in which that we generate, create money or receive money. And there's also a linear way that maybe we believe this reality of what receiving is. There's an appropriate time to receive, and it has to be a certain way, or I can't receive from that person because they're really, not really, don't like that person or whatever. It's just, it's receiving. There's a different, I guess, I'm getting more awareness of what really receiving is about. I'm reading Gary's book, The Gentleman's Club, and it talks a lot about receiving energy from everyone and not resisting the energy from other men or from other women or from even children. There's this energy of creation that comes that we all have. And if I'm in a setting where there's another guy there and there's this creative energy and it can be thought of as sexual energy, and I'm resisting that, I can feel that, or that person is resisting me. I'm aware of that. And like even I'm here in Chicago doing some classes, and I even sense the energy in the class of like there's a resistance of some people that I'm aware of. And how much of that is just our own judgments of ourselves, our own judgments of what we think this other person's is or about or whatever. And it stops the creative process. It stops that creative energy from moving forward. It's like it just stops the scene dead. It's like these classes are really also about just learning to be present and learning to receive in a way that you're not trying to reject what the person is about. And that's what we're talking about today. It's just about receiving anyone that comes into our awareness. But it also doesn't mean that we become a doormat and we let people walk all over us. It's more about allowing the person to be who they be, and we choose based on what works for us. It's not, they can't, if they want to be crazy and loud and whatever, I can still allow them to be that. And if it doesn't work for me, I can choose to go somewhere else. So it's still, I'm still receiving them, allowing them to be who they are. So everywhere that we put judgments and limitations on how we receive and in what way that we receive, and it's all linear, that we believe that it's all linear, we please destroy it and create all that times a gazillion.
Right and wrong in that fucking put online shorts pose and youngs. I heard before that there are people who don't ask because it seems like they don't ask. They don't ask because it's like it's weak. Or if don't ask for something, you know, if they need help, they won't ask it because it's me, because it's weak.
I don't know anything about that.
Because it's, I know.
I had to ask you 3 times what you said just to even hear what you said. Was it pardon?
Yeah. And where do I want to go with that? Receive. Yeah. And it can be the same thing for people to receive. Sometimes for them to receive something from someone else, it's about being weak. Mm-hmm. Or if we don't ask anything to anybody, so we don't have to receive, so we are a strong person.
Right.
Yeah, is it true? Is it light for you to think this way? And what are your memories of receiving? If you have a hard time to receive, what are your memories? Is it that what you received when you were young was like you've been hit? You've been, there was violence in your family. There was either violence, physical violence, or abuse. Or was there like with the words verbal violence? Or what is it? Or it can be energetic too. This just someone just look at you and you receive that kind of, in their look, there was like something very judgmental. That could be that. That could be a lot of things about in someone's look. So what is it in the, and when it's something that we live that was traumatic, we tend to block ourselves and to prevent ourselves from receiving this anymore because we don't want to receive this anymore. And the thing is by doing this, because we don't want to receive it, we keep that energetically in place.
Yeah.
And guess what? You're going to recreate it again and again and again. People will be there because you keep it in place. When you want to protect yourself and you put barriers, you keep that dynamic in place. It will always follow you. Wherever you go, with whoever you are, it's there in your energy. And people believe that because they protect themselves, they put like a wall, that they are okay, but it's not the case. You just create the same thing over and over again because it's still present in your energy.
Yeah.
So everywhere you believe. So all the memories you had about what receiving is for you, if you allow yourself to receive, you're going to receive all the shit that you had before. Mm-hmm. Well, and create and destroy it all times a godzillion.
Yes, right. Wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, on shorts, boys and girls. You said shite, right? Shite.
Shite. Okay. Yeah, shite. I said shite. Okay.
It's really, I want to talk just for a second about rejection. It's just like there's some, excuse me, I've got something in my throat tonight. I don't think it's a frog.
What is it?
It's not a frog.
What is this? What is this? Can you do something with this? Can you change it? If not, what can you do?
Reject it. Oh, no, resist it. There's like this idea of rejection, maybe that's in there. Like if, like asking to receive or asking for something. It's like there was a class I was in once, and we had to stand up and claim, or to not claim, but just to announce what our fee was for service. And it was really interesting. We basically just did a little bit of a commercial about what we did. And then we had to say how much our services was. And we had to, I think it was a money class, but we had to like increase it a little bit more than we thought we was actually more than we were comfortable with doing. And it's interesting, so many people, I mean, the promotion could be good, the whole thing. When it came to money, it was just like people automatically, their voice went down. They sort of like talked into themselves. And it was like they weren't, me included, it wasn't either that or it's like you could tell that they weren't comfortable with the price. You know, you could tell that there was like some kind of like resistance to that. And maybe it could be a fear of rejection or something. So, so everywhere that we put a value on who we are by the money that we charge for services, and also by the money that we're willing to receive, will you please destroy and uncreate all of that times Godzillion?
Right and wrong, good and bad, book and photo, nine shorts, pros and beyonds. A tool that I invite you to use is to destroy and uncreate your relationship to your receiving. Destroy and uncreate relationship with your judgment. What if it's something you can shift here by destroying? I destroy and uncreate my relationship to my receiving, my way of receiving, how I should receive. I destroy and uncreate all that. Right, wrong, good, bad, puck, all nine shorts, pros and beyonds. Yeah, that's another way to do it. And another thing that we mentioned before was like, it's about receiving you. And I had an experience in the last few months. I'm not sure if I talk about it on this show, on this podcast, but I was in a way in my life where I knew that my way of functioning didn't work. And I didn't know how to function differently. And at the same time, I felt like I was resisting to something. And one morning during my meditation moment, I said, okay, I'm just going to lower my barriers and I'm going to receive the energy that is there, because I perceived like I was resisting something in me, an energy.
Yeah.
And I lowered my barriers, and it took 30 seconds, 1 minute before I could have it, 30 seconds before I had access to that energy. And that was not so comfortable, because, you know, when we allow ourselves the energies that are available, that are present in our energy, it's not comfortable, because it was a new energy that I had to include. But wow, in the same maybe 5 minutes after that, I felt, because I asked the question, what would it take for me to be at ease with this new energy? What would it take for me to be at ease with this new energy? And that's a question you can ask too. What would it take for me to be at ease while receiving this? While, that kind of question to help you, you know, instead of fighting and trying to find the way, what is it that I have to destroy and uncreate? What if it's about just allowing ease in receiving all that? The compliment, people compliments, when people compliment you. So I allow myself to receive this aspect of me, this energy of me, and the peace that followed that. And I function now from a different level of speed, I can say, a different level of energy. And at the money level, yeah, it shifted a lot. I can receive so much more. So it's about allowing yourself to receive you in every way that you judge you, because I was judging myself. That energy that I was perceiving in me, that I was resisting to, and I was judging, I was like, this is too slow. It's not fast enough. It's not efficient enough. I didn't know what it was, and at the same time, I knew how to judge it. Right. So what if it's about, you know, we in Access, there is this phrase that we hear often: what if your wrongness is your strongness? This is where I thought I was wrong. And when I allow myself to receive that energy that I thought was wrong, was a strongness, because it's easier for me to be present with myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what would it take for you to lower your barriers with yourself, with all the judgment that you have of you, and allow yourself to welcome you, and allow yourself to welcome all these energies of you that are there, and to and that you resist to. And everything that is will you create and destroy it all times a godzillion.
Yes, right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock on it, shorts, boys and beyonds. I just want to also mention that I think I wonder how much of this us not being willing to receive is that we bought this bought this idea that consciousness, I mean, we're not really convinced or maybe this is what it is, that we're not convinced that consciousness has our back or consciousness is grateful for us. It's like, if I truly believed that, if I truly owned that idea that consciousness had my back and consciousness was grateful for me and wanted the best for me, wanted me to shine and wanted me to step into the fullness and the infinite being that I can be, that how much easier would it be to step forward not knowing where I was going to go? How much easier would it be to allow judgments from everyone? How much easier would it be to choose the freedom to create something magical? So everywhere that everywhere that we don't believe that consciousness is grateful for us and that consciousness really does have our back, will you please destroy all those places that are still locked in? Times a godzillion, please.
Yeah, right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, online shorts, boys and beyonds. And what if it's about stopping, because I was listening to what you said, and a lot of people will, there are people who will find a reason for them to not let go. What if it's because they like the fight?
Right.
They like to keep themselves in resistance. There are a lot of people, for him being in resistance, this is their kind of safety.
Feels
this
real.
Is their, feels real too. So are you ready to live your life differently? Are you ready to flow? Have you ever experienced that kind of energy where it flows? It's like, oh my God, it flows. It's so easy. I'm sure you already did that. It's about the same thing. Are you ready to have that kind of experience in your life where you flow and everything flows and everything is so much easier? So
like
it's not, like a dolphin. Yeah. So it's like, it's not with the judgment that you will get there. Right. It's not with that kind of energy. So what if it's about stopping you from judging? Everywhere you have been driven to fight. And it's only by fighting that you can receive what you desire. And create and destroy it all times a godzillion.
Yes, right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pocket, online shorts, boys and beyonds. Well, I think we're at the end of our show today.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts or comments?
No. Destroy and uncreate everything that doesn't allow you to receive everything you desire. It's about that too.
Yep.
Even if you don't know.
Yep.
Even if you don't know what is in place that doesn't allow you to receive, I invite you to continue to everything that doesn't allow me to receive this. And that I'm not aware of, I uncreate and destroy it all. You don't have to be aware to destroy and uncreate it.
Yeah.
The energy is, we'll do it.
Continuing to ask questions and pock all those places that were stuck.
Yeah. So
thanks for joining us again, and we will see you again next time. Thanks for listening, and please give us a honk of support by subscribing, commenting, and sharing the show with your friends. Or, if you didn't like the show, please share it with your enemies. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you again next week.
Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.